You have entered the outlet.
Welcome to the outlet.
Your tech and entertainment connect.
I want to talk about focus.
Where we spotlight blacks in STEM.
My shiro, give me some energy, ma'am.
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
It's the real deal.
Our entrepreneurs.
You ready?
Tech and entertainment news.
Doing my own talk show.
The entertainment industry. Behind the scenes and all things in between.
And it's nothing but the truth.
Get ready to be enlightened, get inspired. Now your host, DJ Kei-Touch.
Yeah, welcome to the Outlet with Kei-Touch. This is a special edition. Oh, I'm just so excited. Yes, that is Lonely Teardrops by the legendary, extraordinary Mr. Jackie Wilson. Today on the Outlet with Kei-Touch, yes, we have the pleasure and the absolute honor of having his daughter, yes, Jackie Wilson's daughter, Miss Brenda Wilson out of the Motor City. Welcome to the Outlet with Kei-Touch, Brenda.
Hi, how you doing, everyone? My pleasure, Keisha and Touch.
Yes, this is just so exciting. I mean, the only reason I really know about Jackie Wilson is because of my father. My father had so much of his music and just loved him. And it's important that we know the trailblazers, the pioneers of our music.
Yes.
It's so important. Ms. Brenda Wilson is also the CEO of the Jackie Wilson Foundation and author of The Life of Jackie Wilson. And I'm just so excited to have you here today with me to talk about your father, talk about your book, and talk about all the other roles you have, because you're also a show producer, serial entrepreneur, Emmy Award-winning songwriter, and produce all these phenomenal shows. So this is just such an honor and pleasure, ma'am. So tell me, what inspired you to write a book about your father, the late, great Jackie Wilson?
Well, what inspired me to write a book about Daddy was that I just wanted to tell my story from my side. And some of the things that I had read previously from other people's writings on the webs and all that other stuff, you know, some of them was okay, some of them was not so nice, and some of them was a little loving. So I said, well, why don't I tell the story and write a book on what I know from my perspective? And that's what I did. It took me a while to actually finish it. To do it, it took about 3 or 4, 5, almost 5 years to finish and write the book because of things that came up and different things. And so then one day, a friend of mine, she told me, she said, Brenda, you're supposed to be finishing your book. I said, how do you even know I wrote a book? No. I'm like, what? And so she told me, she said, God told me you was writing on a book and I'm to tell you, you know, to finish the book. So she said, I'm going to help you do that. And I'm like, oh, I don't really need no help. She said, yes, you do. So she did. She put me in touch with the editor. And so it just snowballed from there. And then I finished the book and it's out.
I love it. And again, we are talking about The Life of Jackie Wilson. The Legend Continues by Brenda Wilson. You can find this on Amazon. You can type in Brenda Wilson, Jackie Wilson, Life of, something's coming up.
Yes, absolutely. Just whatever floats your boat, type it in.
She said, whatever floats your boat, type it in. This is just so exciting because your father was just a dynamic soul performer during the 50s and the 60s and really changed the entertainment when we're talking about singing and dancing. And it's just so phenomenal. And it's important that the people today, and I'm talking about the youth, the younger generation, knows where it all came from. Nothing is new under the sun. It came from Jackie Wilson, Mr. Excitement himself. And he wowed the crowds with his dancing. Tell me a little bit about his dancing techniques and what made him so different as a dancer.
Well, what made him a little much different because the way he excited the crowd. One was his charisma. Two was his vocal range was like 4 octaves.
Yes.
He had a 4-octave range, and it was just his personality. And he was fine. He got out there when he walked over stage. He had that charisma. He had that swag. You know, he looked good in them suits and that hair, them pompadours or whatever you call it back in the day. And then when he opened his mouth, it was over. And then what made his moves was so loving. He just had this loving charisma. And the moves that he did was actually something that he learned from boxing.
What?
They were skip overs. And nobody has even done those, things at all. And Michael Jackson, he just made up his own, but he got his kind of, ideas, I would say, I believe from Jackie Wilson, because he met Daddy at an early age. But Jackie Wilson was so excited, and his charisma permeated into the audience. His love, his voice, the way he delivered songs permeated into the audience till everybody just felt like he loved them, that he was in love, and they fell in love with him. So Jackie Wilson, during those periods, they started calling him Mr. Excitement because he had an exciting style, his form, his charisma. I'm just telling you, he was just debonair. I mean, the man was just beautiful.
And he was very handsome.
He was very handsome. He was just, and then his personality, went along with that as well. But you didn't want to cross him. Okay. Because he was a boxer. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, he loved his fans and family. He really did. He loved it. He was a really loving individual. That's why he loved women. I'm telling you.
I'm sure they loved him too.
And they loved him too. Absolutely.
And as you just hinted on, he's been credited with influencing artists such as Prince, Michael Jackson, and Elvis Presley. This is so phenomenal. Yeah.
And each one of those, I know Prince loved Jackie. He loved his style and everything. There will never be another Prince, just like there'll never be another Jackie Wilson. There'll never be another Elvis, and there'll never be another Michael Jackson. All these icons were one of a kind. Nobody else can imitate them or be them, which people do try, but there'll never be another one. So, like Michael dedicated his Thriller album that he received in 1987 to Jackie Wilson. He said, Jackie, wherever you are, I'm just kind of paraphrasing.
Hold on real quick. Hold on. I got something for you. Hold on.
Okay.
It's important that some people are entertainers and some people are great entertainers. Some people are followers and some people make the path and are pioneers. I like to say Jackie Wilson was a wonderful entertainer.
Just wanted to play a little clip of that because it's one thing to say it and it's another thing to hear it.
Absolutely. And I do appreciate that. And thank you so much. And, and that's the way Michael felt, even Elvis Presley, he had something good to say about Jackie after he met him at the Trip Club in Vegas. And he went there to see Daddy when he was singing with Billy Ward and the Dominoes, and he didn't even know Jackie existed. But when Jackie sung one of his songs, I forgot which one it was, he went back and he was in the studio with Johnny Cash and a couple of other people, and he was telling them that, man, he went to see Billy Ward and the Dominoes, and it was this young man, he called him a young boy, that sung his song, and he sung it in key of B, and he sung it like nobody have ever heard him sing. He said, I never heard nobody sing my song like that. But then he went back, he went backstage and met them. And so, they became friends, actually. There's a picture with Daddy and Jack, what's his name, Elvis. And then he said, he signed it, you'll have a friend for life,
Wow.
So it's a lot of things that's missed. And that's another thing, the reason why I wrote the book, because a lot of people have said that Jackie Wilson was the black Elvis and Elvis was the black Jackie Wilson, and they was rivals and all this. That's not even true. Not even true. They really cared and respected one another.
Wow.
They respected each other. So the craft that Daddy had and the style, they might have mimicked us, took a little bit from each other, but they were never rivals. You understand what I'm saying? They were friends. And so I just wanted to make sure people understand that Jackie and Elvis was cool.
Jackie and Elvis were cool, and me and Brenda Wilson are cool. Look, it's the Outlet with Kei-Touch. Yes, we're talking to Miss Brenda Wilson, the daughter of Jackie Wilson, CEO of Jackie Wilson Foundation, and author of The Life of Jackie Wilson. Check out the website, JackieWilsonFoundation.org. Look, only the best of the best are here on the Outlet with Kei-Touch. On the other side, more discussion with Miss Brenda Wilson about the book about her father, The Life of Jackie Wilson. The legend continues. It's the Outlet with Kei-Touch. Stay with us.
My heart is crying, crying. Lord. Someone to care, someone to share. Lord,
Yes, welcome back to the Outlet with Kei-Touch. We have Brenda Wilson singing. She's also a vocalist. I forgot I left out that part, Miss Brenda. My apologies. Going with To Be Loved. I love it.
It's a lot, Down through the years, I've been in this business, in the entertainment business, for 30 years. It's going on 31 now. So it's a lot that I have done, a lot I have seen, a lot of people I've met, so it's just a joy to still be here to talk about it, and I just thank God for everything that he's done, all the success he's allowed me to be a part of in his name. So I'm just happy. I am just happy. I'm just happy. I'm happy for you, and I'm happy to be here talking to you and your listeners.
Yes, ma'am. And we're happy to have you here on the Outlet with Kei-Touch. Look, coming in, we were playing To Be Loved, which was written by Motown's own Berry Gordy before Motown.
That's right. Absolutely.
And he actually titled his book To Be Loved, the music, the magic, the memories of Motown. So that tells you how special it is. And he actually has a chapter with a section entitled Jackie Wilson under the songwriting years, 1957 through 1959. Wow. How does that make you feel?
Oh, well, it's an honor. I know if my father was here, he would definitely be honored because him and Barry was friends. And, I know some stories, about Berry Gordy. And when that first song that he wrote, Repeat, Daddy just kind of disappeared, but it was being played on the radio, and Berry was trying to find it, and he couldn't find it. He was like, well, where is Jackie? So finally, just one day, make a long story short, Daddy knocked on the door, and he was like, oh, man, where you been, Bam? Went in there, started To Be Loved, started playing it on the piano. Berry wasn't that good of a singer, but Daddy just told him, let me take it, man. So Daddy did a very good job of To Be Loved, and Berry Gordy was very, very pleased, and it became popular and a successful hit.
And we're talking about the late 50s and the 60s.
Yes.
And things were so different. We're talking pre-Motown when your father was doing it and crossing over. He paved the way for so many artists today, and it's important they know about him. That's why it's important for you to go to JackieWilsonFoundation.org and also to Amazon to see the life of Jackie Wilson. The legend continues.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. And you're out of the Motor City, Detroit. It just seemed like everybody who either made it to Detroit or was born in Detroit could sing, because it's like everybody during that period seemed to be out of Detroit. What's in the water in Detroit?
But Detroit is a musical town. That's why it's called Motown. And then when Barry started, I mean, he wasn't the only record company here, but he was the most popular record company here. And what he did was he had a style. I think he had a plan, and a lot of the artists that came out of Motown were groups, and that was a beautiful thing, because like when the Temptation, my girlfriend is Cheryl Ruffin, she's the daughter of David Ruffin. I'm telling you, it's the groups were they were like magical. They came out, the Temptation came out with back to back, A side, B side, A side, B side, Christmas shows. Barry put on Christmas shows with all of the artists that there, and they came right out of the neighborhood, so they was raw.
Just raw talent.
Raw talent. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it made it so genuine. And that's why everybody was excited. You went to school with these cats. You understand? And so they were like, oh yeah, I know so and so. I know, so and so. They went in the neighborhood. So that's what it made it so magical here in Detroit. Now, everybody couldn't sing. Everybody couldn't sing. Everybody wanted to sing. And what that did was open doors that gave people confidence, that might have been lagging back, think they couldn't sing or something. But then they found out maybe they could sing, and so they started to build groups and, come out with songs and be individual singers and, stuff like that. So then Motown was very popular, and singing on the street corners and doo-wopping and all that was very popular.
Wow, that's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Look, it's the Outlet with Kei-Touch. We are talking to Miss Brenda Wilson, CEO, Jackie Wilson Foundation, author, The Life of Jackie Wilson, JackieWilsonFoundation.org. She's also a show promoter, a producer, serial entrepreneur, award-winning songwriter, and produces Offsprings of Legends. Tell us about Offsprings of Legends. That just sounds like so much fun.
Well, like you said, it was a lot of singers in Detroit, and there's a lot of Offsprings of Legends that are here in Detroit, and they're all over everywhere. So the Lord just told me to do an Offspring of Legend show. So just before we had that COVID thing in 2020 set in, I had did an Offspring of Legend show, and I had the offspring of Benny King, Eddie Taylor, what's her name, Brenda Reed's daughter, Jackie Wilson's daughter, Levi Stubbs' family, Mojo, what's his name, Muddy Waters.
Wow.
We had some hitters. You hear what I'm saying? And so people were calling after the show. The show was a big success. I had some young talent on there I'm always going to showcase young talent. I said I had this group called the Young Men for Christ. You talk about somebody set it off. Woo! They set it off at that show, and it was just a phenomenal show. And people wanted us to was calling me about, touring, taking it on the road, with these different Offsprings of Legends. And there's plenty of them. There's plenty of Offsprings of Legends. So I also did a TV segment with Offsprings of Legend. I did the live show, but that wasn't the first one I did. I did another one with Sam Cooke and Ray Charles people as well. So it's something that I love doing, and just to meet these offsprings and legends is a pleasure and it's an honor. There was a whole lot of them in the audience too, like what you call David Ruffman's daughter. I mean, it was just I can't even remember the.
So it was so many offsprings, right?
There was a lot of offsprings and legends in the audience as well.
Wow. So, Miss Brenda, tell us what makes you the most proud about your father. So much to be proud of because he's an icon and it accomplished so much in his life and was a pioneer and trailblazed and crossed over. People don't understand. He crossed over to the pop charts. This is a big deal. But tell me what makes you the most proud about your father, the legendary Jackie Wilson.
Well, what I'm so proud to be is to be his daughter and to be in his bloodline. It's so important to me is to keep his memory alive. Okay, and because of who he was and because he was cut down at an early age, he was like from 5 years old to 40. He got cut down at 40. But what makes it so magical and loving for me is that, one, he was my father. Two, he was just Mr. Excitement. And three, he loved his people and people loved him, and he took up. He loved his fans. He loved his family. He loved his friends. He was a loving individual. And he also, what you would say, by his talent, having his talent and his 4-octave range, he entertained people that even made his love permeate all over the world. He was famous all over the world, And so I appreciate him. And I appreciate him so much that's why I'm doing everything I can to keep his memory alive, because he was struck down at an early age and he was not able to actually reap the fruits of his labor. So I think it's just good to keep his memory alive for the young generations coming up, because our young people don't even know. A lot of them haven't even heard of Jackie Wilson. But you said you was introduced by your grandmother, your grandfather?
No, by my father. Yes.
By your father.
Yes.
Jackie Wilson. So that made it good, but everybody is not introducing their children to, other icons. Because, they might not even know themselves. I found it's true.
Wow. I don't know how, because To Be Loved, you can hear that everywhere. And one of my favorite songs, Baby Workout. And that was even in the Jacksons movie, the story about the Jacksons. I think it came out in the early 90s. They actually showed Michael Jackson. He opened up for your father before they got signed to Motown, and you could see him on the side of the stage imitating his moves in the movie. So I said, wow, this is absolutely incredible. And he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. 2013, inducted into the official R&B Music Hall of Fame. And I think you told me he has a star.
Yes, he has a star on the Hollywood, in Hollywood, the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Yes. His star, 2,677th star. That's what he had received. And that was in September 4th, 2019. And it was really a pleasure. It was an honor to be there, to see Daddy be inducted, and also see his star placed on Hollywood Walk of Fame star. And not only that, he has numerous awards that he have received. I have received posthumously from other organizations, like from colleges, like Lewis College of Business, which was a black college. There's so many other awards that he has received, that people, I need to, this is another thing. Daddy has a street called it's called Jackie Wilson Lane in Detroit, in Highland Park of Detroit, on Woodward and Cottage Road, where he grew up at. I had that street named after him in August of 2016. So there's a lot of accolades that he was received, that he's continuing to receive. Because that's one of my goals is just to keep his memory alive.
And just to keep his memory alive. And it's great that you're doing the work to ensure that his memory is alive. So check out JackieWilsonFoundation.org. Also, check out the book, The Life of Jackie Wilson. Is it The Legend Continues or The Legacy Continues? The legend or the legacy?
The legacy continues. The life of Jackie Wilson, the legacy continues.
It's just so excited about this, and it's great that you're honoring your father in this way and ensuring that the future generations know where. Oh, yeah, this is my song right here.
Which one?
Let's rock some more.
Baby, work out. Yes.
Hey, that just make you want to dance.
It does, and I'm just sitting here in this chair like, wait a minute, I want to get up.
Talking time. Hey, let's do it.
I love it. Just quick closing thoughts for us, Ms. Brenda Wilson. Quick closing thoughts.
Yes. Oh, my thought is, if you ever want to be successful, you can't give up. You can't try. You just do.
Ooh. That was deep. We're going to end on that. Look, it's been a pleasure having you again, Miss Brenda Wilson, serial entrepreneur, CEO of the Jackie Wilson Foundation, author of The Life of Jackie Wilson. The legacy continues. It's been such a pleasure and an honor to have you on the Outlet with Kei-Touch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your listening audience. And I look forward to doing this again with you. I had a lot of fun. We got to do this again.
Yes, ma'am, we do. Yes. Look, it's the Outlet with Kei-Touch. Only the best of the best. You get them right here on the Outlet with Kei-Touch. Stay with us.